This is the most focused car Lexus has ever made after the LFA. But unlike the LFA, which had a screaming V10 engine under its hood, the LC500 has a V8. But wait, that won't come to India. But what we'll get in 2020 is the LC500H, which is a hybrid. So, which is basically a combination of a 3.5-litre V6 engine and an electric motor to give a combined horsepower of around 360 PS. But wait, before we start driving the car, we'll talk about the exterior design because I think it looks just fantastic. And also, there's lots of tech on board. So let's get to that first. With the LC500, Lexus was out to change the impression that it makes boring-looking luxury cars and instead become known for trend-setting, youthful and unique designs. The effort Lexus has put in shows from the moment you lay eyes on the LC500. Look at it from any angle and a flagship Lexus coupe looks stunning. Despite having multiple sharp cuts and creases, it comes across as a well-rounded proportional machine. The signature Lexus spindle grille is sharper than ever, and the beautifully designed 3-element LED headlamps look purposeful. In profile, things get even better. The design has been heavily influenced by the beautiful LFA, but the long hood, GT-like stubby boot, and the taller cabin give it its own identity. The massive 21-inch forged aluminium alloys and the well-defined shoulder line are clearly the highlights. The LC500H is based on the GAL, Global Architecture Luxury platform that also underpins the LS sedan. The chassis is made up of high-strength steel, aluminium and carbon fiber in key areas to increase rigidity and save weight. Despite this, the LC500H weighs in excess of 2 tons. To counter this, Lexus has added tech like rear-wheel steering and variable ratio steering rack to help make the LC as agile to drive as possible. The interiors of the LC500H feel really special, especially important controls like drive modes or even the aircon controls, it's right there. Then there's the quality, which is just exquisite. The leather finish, especially the Alcantara on the door pads, look really special. The digital instrumentation derived from the LFA is magnificent, and the graphics, especially in sports mode, would make a seasoned graphic designer proud. What is not so great is the infotainment system that feels a generation or two behind the likes of what you get in a Mercedes or a BMW. Scrolling through the menus is not the easiest and the touchpad is a bit difficult to use on the move. The front sport seats are snug and offer great lateral support. They tend to keep you in place even during hard cornering. You get a pair of rear seats too. The LC500H being a luxury coupe, you expect good amount of room at the rear. Let's find out. There we go. Oh dear, I don't think I'll fit in this. Oh. Ah. Ow, ow, ow. Nope, there isn't for sure. So this car is purely a two-seater. And the rear seats are definitely best used as extra luggage space. Due to the lithium-ion batteries that are located above the rear differential, the boot is shallow and offers a tiny 130 liters of space. But what is good is that the Lexus LC500H comes loaded with features like full LED headlamps, powered steering adjust, 10-way adjustable powered front seat with memory, an 8-inch infotainment screen with touchpad, and many more. It's packed with safety features too. You get 8 airbags including knee airbags for front passengers, ESP, pre-collision pedestrian detection and lane keep assist. The car that will come to India will get the Sport Pack as standard, which includes features like a carbon roof, active rear steering, a speed-activated rear wing and a variable ratio steering rack. Why is this beauty called LC500H and not just LC500? That H stands for hybrid, because powering this car is a 3.5-litre V6 motor that works with an electric motor to deliver 360 horsepower. So, what does this green tech mean? In eco or in comfort mode, as soon as you start driving, the LC500H feels quite soothing. At around 40 kilometers an hour, if your battery is sufficiently charged, it goes into EV mode, and as soon as you put your foot down, the engine comes on and you get a nice thrust from the 3.5 liter V6 engine, and the shift from EV mode to hybrid is quite seamless and you don't even realize most of the time. So this car is going to cost around 2 crores in India. So does it feel fast? Does it feel sporty? As soon as you put it in sport or in sport plus mode, it does. Past 3000 or 4000 RPM, the engine comes in its own, where it's got a nice surge and it also sounds creamy smooth, and it's got that nice V6 engine sound. So the gearbox on the LC500H is quite complicated, where you have a CVT and a torque converter combined together to give you 10 steps, which is 10 speeds. Does it feel a little complicated while driving? Not at all. In fact, while cruising on the highway, even if you're doing around 80 kilometers an hour, you can be in the 10th step and the engine will be doing around 1000 RPM. That's like cruising at idle. That not only means that the LC500 is a soothing drive, but it'll also be good in terms of fuel efficiency. The gearbox does show its limitations when you shift to manual mode, as you feel some of the CVT lag when you give it the beans. But you'll only notice this when you're driving really hard or out on a racetrack. Once you start driving this car, you realize it's really easy to drive. You have good visibility, the A-pillars are thin, even the window line is quite low for a sports car. The ride quality at low speeds is actually quite supple, especially in comfort mode, where it takes even sharper bumps really well. But as the speeds rise, you do get a fair amount of vertical movement, as the ride gets a little bouncy. So at higher speeds, the ride works well in sport or sport plus mode, where the ride feels flatter and more comfortable than in comfort. When it comes to handling, the LC500H is actually quite a wide car, so we are driving on narrow Japanese roads where it's a little difficult to really go fast, and also it's heavily restricted in terms of speeds. But still, on first impressions, the steering is quite nice. It doesn't roll much into corners, and especially in sport or sport plus mode, it feels quite agile. And also what helps is the rear wheel steering, which especially around sharper turns makes the car feel smaller than it is. Lexus has also promised that the LC500H headed to India will get structural and suspension changes to improve the ride further. So the Lexus LC500H will be launched in India early next year, and according to our calculations, it will be priced around 1.8 to 2 crores ex-showroom India. So at that price, you have established competition like the Mercedes S-Class Coupe. But at least on first impressions, the LC500H definitely hits the sweet spot. It's luxurious on the inside, it looks beautiful on the outside, and then there's the ride, which is actually quite pliant despite being a good handling machine. Even the engine, or rather the hybrid powertrain, despite having a complicated CVT and automatic gearbox, actually is quite punchy, and overall the LC500H is a good all-rounder.